Love knows no boundaries. It's the light in our eyes, familiar to all, universally prized. There's a world of compassion, and we're good to begin. We could just quit fighting and let love win. Love wins. Love wins. All is well in the end. Love wins. Love wins. Love wins. All is well in the end. Love wins. When we're up against too much to ask, when we lose our resistance at last, and we realize love's got our back, love wins. For everyone, great and small, we are lifted as we fall. Kindness conquers all. Love wins. Yeah. Love wins. Love wins. All is well in the end. Love wins. Love wins. Love wins. All is well in the end. Love wins. New life begins. Love wins.
Thank you so much. Beautifully done. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome to Unity. And we know that this is a place that is full of love, full of friendship, and generous hearts. And there are many people with generous hearts who love to give of their service to make this service possible. We like to always acknowledge them. And today, Barbara Olin's blessing team is on board. We have on hospitality, Monica and Shirley. On sound, we have Boyan and Bob. The welcome table is Henry. Thank you, Henry Reeves. And we have an incredible music team, as you have just heard, under the beautiful direction of our Blair Jones. Would you please introduce everybody up here?
Happy to. Of course, Don and Patricia are singing loud and strong, and our praise singers, would you all stand up so everybody can see you? Rhonda Cooley, and today, for the first time, Mr. Tony Sierra.
Welcome, Tony.
Drove all the way over from Harrisonburg, and we're really glad to have him here. Kevin Morrison, Janice Gilmore, Zoe Cleveland, and our guitarist, Johnny Clark, and our drummer, Neil Salazar.
Thank you all. Thank you, everyone. So please join in saying our mission statement together, affirming it as it is true. Together, please. Unity of Charlottesville
empowers everyone
to
express their unique divinity, making a positive difference in the world.
And it feels like home to me. It feels like home to me. It feels like I'm all the way back where I come from. And it feels like home to me. It feels like home to me. It feels like I'm all the way back where I belong. It feels like I'm all the way back where I belong. He sits on the sidewalk and holds up a sign. Please help me, I'm hungry, but we just walk by. And it's colder than ever, and the cold of the heart just builds up these stone walls that keep us apart. And what are we here for, if not for love? If not for each other, how can we be enough to get through the darkness and still rise above? What are we here for, if not for love?
I don't know the reason we can't get along. Seems like everyone's fighting about who's right and who's wrong. Maybe you wear a cross and I wear a star, just to keep us from seeing how connected we are. And what are we here for, if not for love? If not for each other, how can we be enough to get through the darkness and still rise above? What are we here for, if not for love?
And must we wait until the world all goes to hell to love our neighbors as ourselves? And what are we here for, if not for love? If not for each other, how can we be enough to get through the darkness and still rise above? What are we here for, if not for love? To get through the darkness and still rise above. What are we here for, if not for love?
What a beautiful music team we have. Thank you. Well, a couple was celebrating their 60th wedding anniversary, and they had a little time to talk a little bit amongst themselves on the porch before things got a little bit hectic during their day. And so Harry motioned to Martha to come over and sit next to him, and he looked at her and he started to whisper to her, and his eyes welled up with tears. And he said, "You know, Martha, what a life we have had together. Do you remember when I was first starting out and I lost my first job? But you supported me through that every step of the way. And then I really was building up my business, and it was doing so great, and then it failed. But Martha, you were right by my side. And of course, when we lost the house, you were there with me every step of the way. And you know what, Martha? I think you must be bad luck." Well, today we're talking about big love. It was up there before, big love, and how relationships bring us closer to greater meaning in our lives. Yet, relationships, everybody knows, can be challenging at times because, relationships are really a lot like algebra. Did you ever think of that? Have you ever looked at your ex and wondered why? Oh. Well, big love is what we're talking about today. And why this matters to you is because love is, of course, the single most important faculty that we have. Love is the core of our goodness, and nothing else matters as much as being centered in love. In 1 Corinthians 13, number 2, Paul says, "And if I have prophetic powers and understand all the mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have all faith, so as if to move mountains, but I have not love, I am nothing." We know this, right? I mean, we know this is true. What did they just sing? What are we here for if not for love? And of course, Charles Fillmore said it this way: love is the great harmonizing principle. It is the pure essence of being, the pure essence of being that binds together the whole human family. But as Don and I prepare to do these lessons, we actually go through quite a process during the week, thinking about the whole subject matter. Sometimes, like this week, I was thinking about that title, Big Love. And I wondered about it. Now, I came up with it, but that was a while ago. And so when I was thinking about what is big love, it became a real mental treasure map. And so I thought, and I recalled Mother Teresa's beautiful quote that says, "In this life, we can do no great things. We can only do small things with great love." Well, that's great love, but is it big love? Then I thought about what Jesus said. "There is no greater love than to lay down one's life for one's friends." Well, of course, that is very great love. But is it big love? And when Jesus was asked, what is the greatest commandment, he could have made recommendations about anything, about accessing all of the power of the universe. But what he chose was one commandment to pass on. He said, "This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you." Well, loving in relationships with others, relationship with God, and relationship with ourselves. Certainly that is very, very important. But is it big love? Well, I'm going to hold that question and put it to the side for a moment, but I promise you I will come back to it. I want to segue now into relationships. One helpful theory about relationships, I think we can understand what is big love through it. And let's pursue the path of love along relationships, because we know that relationships are really our curriculum of learning how to love. So we may find the answer to big love within that. So one helpful theory is the 5 languages of love by Gary Chapman. How many of you know about the 5 languages of love? Okay, so about half of you do. He is convinced that each and every one of us has a primary love language. And when we receive love in that form, we experience being loved most directly. So the 5 love languages are, first of all, words of affirmation. Using words to affirm the other person, either by spoken words, written, or even sung. The second love language is quality time. Giving your undivided attention to somebody. Really focusing on them, closing out the rest of the distractions, undivided attention. The third one is something that we all, most all of us do this time of year, giving gifts. And you know, it's a lot of fun to give gifts and to receive them. And some people, don't they have just the most perfect knack for finding just the right gift? Well, that might be their love language. And number 4 is acts of service. Actually looking for ways to do things for others. And there are a few people in our community that are very much like that. If you watch them, they're always looking, what can I do to help? What can I do? That is probably their language of love. And of course, number 5 is physical touch. And the emotional power of touch, we know this very well. So many research projects about infants, if they are not held, if they're not given loving touch, they will fail to thrive. We know this. I think we also need to remember it, that no matter what our age is, from a teenager that might be squirmy about touch, or a very elderly person, everyone needs touch. So, of course, we can all enjoy all 5 of these languages of love, and we probably do. But the key to making sure that your loved one feels loved is to discover the primary love language of that person and to speak it consistently. So I ask you, it starts with us first, right? What is your primary language of love? Is it words of affirmation, quality time, gifts, acts of service, physical touch? Very important to know that. And to find out, if you don't know automatically, what is helpful is asking yourself these 3 questions. Number 1, how do I most often express love to other people? Number 2, what do I complain about the most? Usually with your loved one. Your complaint can reveal your inner request for love. For example, you know, we just don't spend time together anymore. That could be a need for quality time. Or, do you mean that you didn't bring me anything back from your trip? That's a gift person. And number 3 question is, what do I request most often? Do you say, could we take a walk together after dinner tonight? That's a request for quality time. And it's understandable that when a couple has a different primary language of love, And most couples usually do. You know how that works, right? We attract opposites so that we can learn to grow. We can learn to understand and have compassion and love towards another person's way of looking at the world. And love languages are part of that as well. So unless you are aware of what the other person is wanting, they can feel like they're missing, and they're missing each other, kind of like, ships passing in the night. We had an example of this recently, talking to a couple. One partner was so upset because they were not really receiving quality time with the love of their life, because the love of their life is very, very focused on service. And that partner was always out there doing service, and it was like they were missing each other, and they were not really happy with each other. So this interesting extension of identifying your primary love language, not only in personal relationships, not only with the single loved one in your life, but with friends as well. But it's very interesting that it also can apply to how you feel loved and connected with Spirit. That's taking it a step farther. So words of affirmation, if that is like your key thing, you might like to be one of the ones that sings or prays out loud. We have a lot of prayer people that pray out loud. Quality time could be translated into meditation, that is very, very important to you, that time apart, that quality time with Spirit. Gifts. It could be giving of money and then receiving prosperity in kind. Also giving the gift of encouragement to anyone, especially our youth. And acts of service. Giving of your time and talent to others. I think we have 22 sacred service groups in this community. So there's a lot of people that love to give of their time and talent. And touch. Where can you go and get more hugs than at Unity? I ask you. Obviously, a lot of us have that as a love language. And you may know Ama Chi. She is very famous. She's called the Hugging Saint. Her whole ministry is about hugging. She doesn't speak. She just hugs thousands and thousands of people. Obviously, that's her language of love that connects her with Spirit. And with our UHHC, we have many, many practitioners that use touch to heal. Hands-on healing, massage, all of that. All of these great expressions of love are so wonderful with each other, with God, but even that, I was still on the quest for what is big love? What is big love? One morning this week, I woke up and I just knew. I knew it. I knew what big love means to me today in this context. For me, big love is all of a sudden, right in the midst of life as usual, there is a new and beautiful and amazing awareness of God expressing as love. Right there. And of course, we know that God is love. Love is a divine activity, a cosmic force, a spiritual gift that often comes seemingly out of the blue. But because we know that God is present everywhere and all the time, it's really our opening our eyes to it that we are able to perceive and experience big love. Well, I have a couple of examples of the appearance of big love recently. I have a dear friend whose husband died 5 years ago, And they enjoyed a very, very long marriage together. I think they reached 50 years together. They had 3 children. They were the love of each other's life. She's actually writing a book about their love story, and it's quite unique and quite beautiful. So she grieved very, very deeply for many years after the loss of her husband. And she did her work on it. She sought help. She went to therapy. She wrote about it. She did everything that she could to heal her grief. And I called her a couple of months ago, and she said, "You know what? The most amazing thing has happened. I was not looking for it, but I met this man, and I'm starting to date him, and I'm having fun. I'm taking it step by step. I'm just going to what feels right to me, and it's amazing. It's amazing." And I got off the phone, and I actually wept because I thought, I never thought she would ever, ever, ever even look at another man again. She was so in love with her husband. And here it was, life expressing itself. Life never stops expressing itself. Love never stops expressing itself. And this, to me, was an example of big love. It was, I think, a Valentine from the universe. And love can be dreams manifested. When you don't have any idea about how your dream is going to manifest. I mean, you have this dream, and it just thrills you to think about it, but you don't know how it's going to happen. Well, one of my dreams, dearly held dreams, is that my book, Accepting Death, Embracing Life, How Death Teaches Us to Live, will reach the people who are grieving, who are afraid of dying, who don't know what to do to give help to their loved ones as they are caretaking people in dire situations. And this has help in that book. I don't know how it's going to get out there to everybody, but unexpectedly, I met someone from Unity Worldwide Ministries. And out of the blue, but not really out of the blue, still in the energy of the universe, this person said to me, I didn't know them before, but he said, I lost my daughter. She was young. She was in her 20s. I was having a very hard time with this. I went to not one, but 2 counselors. Neither one of them met me where I was. I felt no relief from doing that. And then I found your book. I didn't know you. I didn't know how I found it, but I found your book. And that book helped me so much in my process. I felt so amazed. This is God. This is God working through the universe. This is big love. And another piece of it, as a result of this, I have been asked to speak on 4 Tuesdays of February, 12 o'clock on each of the 4 Tuesdays, on Unity Online Radio. You can access on your smartphones or your computers, 12 o'clock, 4 Tuesdays in February, about my book. And I thought, wow, to me, this is big love. This is God working in ways that I didn't know how it would be. And your dreams come true in those ways as well. Your dreams, if you hold them in your heart, will manifest. Many of you have dreams that have done that already. So whenever we practice our spiritual principles, it feels like we take one little baby step towards Spirit. But we have the experience that Spirit then says, let me make up the difference. And Spirit comes right up to us. We then are able to achieve prosperity, joy, faith, peace, and love, really big love. Big love, another way to say it, is the kingdom within that Jesus always spoke about. The kingdom of God is within you. That realm of our consciousness where we know and understand and connect with God. The kingdom is the realm of divine ideas where perfect harmony is found. And haven't we all had times of receiving big love in our lives? I look at Joanne. She has 2 little grandchildren. Oh, that's big love, right? Many, many more of you are grandparents. I know that. You've had that experience, and much, much more. In a moment, I'm going to invite you to pair up with someone, and I'd like each of you to take 1 minute, I'll tell you when a minute is up, to share with another one time, at least one time, when you experienced big love. And defining big love could be perhaps a windfall, your ship has come in, perhaps it is answered prayers, perhaps it is your dreams coming true. Unexpected joy, long-awaited healing, amazing grace, seemingly from out of the blue, a direct experience of the divine, perhaps a Valentine from the universe. Any and all of those and even more can be big love. So would you be so kind now just to turn to a partner, and I'll tell you in a moment when to start. Let's give everyone a chance to find a partner. Does anybody not have a partner? Please raise your hand. Henry is Aurora right there, right there. Anyone else need a partner? Henry? Don doesn't have a partner. Henry doesn't have a partner. Okay. So, all right. I would like the person who has the shorter hair to go first. Take a minute. Take a minute. Okay, please let your partner share now. Let your partner share. Okay, begin to bring that to a close. Are you okay with this? Thank you. Thank your partner. Finish up now. Okay, we just have time to take a couple of shares. If you'd be so kind to share your big love with the community, just raise your hand and Don and I will go over and give you the mic. Yes. You want to say your name too? That would be great.
Hi, I'm Marge.
You want to stand so everybody can see you? Hi, Marge.
Hi, I'm Marge. One of my big love, I had a number of experiences, but one of my big love was coming here to Unity and feeling the love that's being shared by everybody.
Love you, Marge. Thank you. Thank you.
I was just sharing how there's been a lot too, but I just remember when my second child, Jake, was born, I was so worried that I wasn't going to have enough room in my heart because of Georgia. It's like, how am I going to love another child more, not, even just a tiny bit as much as her. But when he was born that whole day, I remember just everything, just looking into his eyes, and my heart just like grew like the Grinch. It was just amazing. And it was incredible how much love could, expand.
Yes. And they are both so beautiful. Yeah.
With me, it's absolutely no doubt. Getting up every morning with my husband, sharing the evenings with my husband for 38 years. It has been magic. It has been big love, big love, big love.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Linda. Quite a number of years ago, about 20-something years ago, I made a visit to Honolulu, Hawaii, on business, and I was standing on the street, just walking on the street, and all of a sudden this voice came through my head and told me, "You must live in Hawaii." What? You must live in Hawaii. And I said, no, it's 3,500 miles away from home, Arkansas. I can't. I mean, I've got a grandchild. No, I'm not going to do it. And all of a sudden, it was like my heart just opened up, and I fell in love with everything I saw. Everything, from the pebble on the ground, the leaves, clouds, mountains, didn't make a difference.
Beautiful.
I was there 5.5 years.
You listen to spirit. Beautiful.
I want to share a different experience. I'd never met Laura before, and Laura told me the story in response to...
Is she okay with you telling it?
I'm not going to tell the story.
Okay.
The story is mine, of experiencing that kind of contact. She did tell a story of herself as a social worker and a particular kind of thing that came up, and the beauty of that and experienced by everybody. And she did that very succinctly. But the offer of the suggestion of you that we talk about that, my experience and that I shared, I was the second one to share, was that kind of contact, that kind of getting to know somebody who was sitting right next to me is so rare. It just gave me goosebumps.
Big love.
So that's thank you to you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Do you have anybody on your side? No?
My side's love is so big they can't speak.
There's one. There's an Ann.
I've had a lot of big loves, but the one that really got to me, and the reason I didn't want to share because I knew I'd cry. But anyway, when Don asked me to marry him, I really wanted to, but I was so, oh no, a second marriage, I don't know if I can do this again, blah, 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 and it was going through me and everything. And finally we got to the point where he said, well, where are we going to get married? And I said, with all the people we know and everything, wouldn't it be great if we could get married at the Jefferson Memorial? And I just blew it off, And then a few days later, he came and he says, we're getting married there. And I was just so, because he heard me, he really heard me, and I just felt like he really is the one. It's really big love.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I experienced big love when I found my way back to Unity after, I don't know, a bunch of years. And especially finding my way back to this Unity, I have felt enormous love being part of the music team and now the board and all of you. There's just so much love here. And it just feels very real and very palpable. So big love here at Unity of Charlotte. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
We out of time?
One more? Yes.
When Shirley and I shared with each other, we discovered that the big love that's expressed that we found relates to family. We have tugs on the elder generation and the younger generation, and we both realized that on those moments when our adult children say thank you or express the appreciation, like I would have been dead by now if you hadn't helped me, is like salve for your soul. And that's so meaningful to me and to Shirley right at this time.
Thank you, Jess.
That's lovely. Look at this. Thank you, Don. Okay. So, how many of you know the story of The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry? How many know Le Petit Prince? Oui. Well, it's often seen as, there's about a quarter of you that raise your hand. It's often been seen as a children's story, but you know it's an allegory, and it has some great wisdom for adults as well. So the story, in essence, is that the little prince is alone on his own planet. It's called an asteroid. He's the only one there. He's very lonely. And when a beautiful rose shows up, a red, beautiful rose, he doesn't quite know what to do with her or how to cultivate a relationship. So after a while, he leaves home, he has adventures, and then eventually he returns home to his flower, having learned about relationships, that they are work and that they give great meaning to our lives. He learns this secret, a very simple secret. It is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye. If we see with the heart, enchantment follows in all that we encounter, as many of you have shared today. That beauty, that glow that each one of you shared and everyone was feeling. Seeing that with the heart will show you big love. Always remember this, especially now as you move through this holiday season with all of the to-dos and the busyness. There is a hidden wellspring of life that is the kingdom within you, and it makes all things new. So I have an affirmation. I would like to invite you to imagine and let these words that I say be the words of your very heart. So just listen and let this be your words. I open my heart to divine love, letting the warm radiance shine out into the world. I make the decision right now to bless everyone and every situation with true love. For when I love, I am most like who I have come here to be and to express. And if you'd repeat the last line, I am grateful for the gift of unending love, big love. I am grateful for the gift of unending love, big love. Thank you. Thank you. We'll prepare now for meditation.
So before we do our meditation, you were supposed to have been given a star and a pen when you came in. Did everyone receive a star and a pen? Anyone not receive? Raise your hand if you didn't receive it. Oh boy. Okay, so we're going to have our ushers run around and give you this thing. So you may have remembered that last week, if you were here, our Christmas tree was bare. And during the week on Wednesday night, we had our service of remembrance, which is, for me, one of the most beautiful services of our year here. And during that service of remembrance, what we invite folks to do is to write the name of a loved one or loved ones and put them on these stars. And this is what decorates our Christmas tree. So all of the stars that you see here are full of the names of people that we are remembering, that we're keeping close in our hearts and our big love. And what we're inviting you to do this morning is we'll have a meditation, and anyone who would like to can come up during that meditation and place your loved ones on this tree so that we can really have this tree fully decorated. We have a menorah down here if your friends or loved ones are Jewish. And so that will be our invitation. Anyone still needs, so over here we still need some down here as well. And you don't have to do this, but if you'd like to, please feel free to do that.
Barbara, somebody behind you?
Yeah. Okay, so while they're doing that, we'll sing our song.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love.
When I lose myself, when I think I've lost my way, when I go inside and quiet my mind, I can hear Spirit gently say, there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only
So if you haven't already, I invite you to close your eyes and relax even more deeply, settle more deeply into this space that so beautifully has been created by all of you this morning. That if nothing else, the intention of Unity of Charlottesville is to be a space of big love. And we know, you all know this, when we fall out of sorts, when we step away from or forget about big love, there are two very simple things that we can do. One is to breathe. When we're out of love, we're not breathing very well. So the first thing is to take a deep breath. And the second thing to do, just so easily to remember our heart space, is to think of a loved one. A loved one can be living, can be thousands of miles away, can be passed on to another dimension. And we hold our loved one in our hearts, and our love expands, our heart expands. And I invite you to do that now. We have our tree of love here that is a representation of all of the love that we hold in our hearts for those that we love and hold dear. So I invite you to go into the silence for a moment, to think of in your heart space someone that you love. And then if you feel so inclined, to write their name on your star. It can be many names on a star if you like. And then just come up and hang your star on the tree. Be careful of the wires around the tree, and just come up and do that. So let's just take a moment of silence. And now with soft focus, just to write the name of your loved one or your loved ones on your star. And when you feel ready, just come on up. We won't do this by rows. Just come up when you feel moved to come up.
There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only love.
Thank you for making the tree even more beautiful with your love. Well, we have a wonderful opportunity to give back a portion of all the good that we've received to the universe through this spiritual community. You know that we are here because of you. There are no outside funding sources. Everything that you give goes to making this place possible. So we ask you to think generously at this generous time of year, particularly, about your spiritual home and what it means to you, and how you will respond through your giving. So we are very grateful to have an opportunity to do this, and I'd like to invite our blessing team to come forward. I noticed that we do have a few people for the first time here in our sanctuary, and we're very grateful that you are here. We would like to ask you to raise your hand to make sure that we acknowledge you. If you're here for the very first time, welcome, welcome. And someone else I saw? No? Okay. Well, we're grateful you're here. I see you have a name tag, so you found Henry at the table out there. Thank you for coming. If you have a moment, please introduce yourselves to Don and I. Will be at the back of the sanctuary afterwards. We're grateful you're here. And then afterwards, we have fellowship down out that door and down those stairs where you get to meet more people. So welcome. Well, let us take our love offerings, our tithes in our hands, and bless them, because we know the way that we give is most important as to how much we give. The way we give is through our hearts. So, divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
Peace in my life is growing because I choose love. Love's always present, it's what I'm made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one tie that binds us that can't be undone. I choose love. Peace in my family is growing because I choose love. Let love be present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one loving family, sharing one song. I choose Peace for our planet is growing because I choose love. Let love be present. It's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one. One choice unites us. Let this be the one. I choose love. I choose love. I choose love. Yes.
We always want to bless our love offerings and give thanks. So we do that now. We just know that what is in these baskets is a result of the generosity and the open-heartedness of each and every giver, and that when we give, we are blessed to receive as well. And so we say thank you, God, for all of our blessings in all areas of our life. Thank you and amen. So it is.
Amen.
And
So
we are grateful for the joy of giving and receiving.
So true. Well, you know, Christmas Eve is coming, and that's why you see the chairs in the Christmas Eve configuration a little bit closer, and there are still many chairs on the sides of the room. So if you are able to do it, if you would be so kind, right after the service, to take those chairs and put them out. We can have a couple more rows in the back, and if we need to, we can move all the chairs up just a little bit. Some more can go on the side here once those chairs are off their stacks, and maybe another little bit here. But I know it all fits because we've done it every year. So if you're able to help, please do, and make light work for all of us. And what's coming up this Thursday is our winter solstice celebration. This is the first time we're doing this at Unity of Charlottesville, and it is going to be a wonderful experience. We have a number of people with many, many talents that will be sharing them. There will be music, deep reflection, and ritual. And we just hope that you will come and join us at 7 o'clock on Thursday. It is being sponsored by the women and men of Unity. So first time they've done a joint venture so far. And we're looking forward to it. Right after the service, we'll all go downstairs. And I understand the women are preparing some incredible refreshments right afterwards. So please join us on Thursday. Maria, would you like to make an announcement? Maria is our Sacred Service Coordinator.
Yay.
Hey, Maria.
Just a couple things. Today is the last day if you would like to order a poinsettia. The poinsettias will be used to decorate the altar for the Christmas Eve service, and then you can take it home to adorn your home. They can be made in honor or in memory of someone. They're $25. They're beautiful and white, and I'll be out in the narthex if you'd like to order one. I'm just looking for just a tiny bit more help with setup after the service on December 23rd, and then takedown after the Christmas Eve service. So we just need like one or two more people. So if you're going to be here on Sunday the 23rd or for the Christmas Eve service, again, please come see me in the narthex.
And the 23rd is next Sunday.
Yes, next Sunday.
Okay, thank you, Maria.
Great. So there's a big insert in your bulletins about all the holiday stuff. I just want to mention the Christmas Eve service. It's 5:30 Christmas Eve. It usually ends at 7, so you can get on to do other things if you need to. And it's usually a full house here, so there is overflow parking next door at R.A. Lee Construction, Piedmont Construction. There's overflow parking. And also on the corner of Whitewood and Hydraulic, there's overflow parking as well. So it's a good thing to come early on that night. And this is kind of the beginning of our trio of services. The next week after that is Burning Bowl, where we release and burn up literally anything that we want to get rid of. And then after that is the White Stone ceremony, where we set our intentions for 2019. So these are all beautiful, lovely services. We hope to see you there. Also, check out our new website. How many people have been to the new website? So I hope you'll all visit it. It's really kind of a wealth of information about Unity, about all the upcoming events. It's much easier to navigate. All of the Unity Holistic Healing Center stuff is on there. And we, hopefully in the next several weeks, will begin live streaming our Sunday services. That will be on there as well. And you can also listen to past services through our podcasts. So check that out.
And we will have a new prosperity class starting the first Sunday of February. We're trying the first class a little bit differently. It'll be from 1 to 3 right after church on that Sunday, so that people are usually here. You can come to the class, check it out. And then the rest of the class will be on the Wednesday nights at 7 o'clock. You'll hear more information about that soon.
And just lastly, we want to thank Rita and Mackie and Jean and Debbie Wright for helping to beautify the sanctuary and put wreaths and things all over. And we just thank you guys. You did a beautiful job.
Thank you so much. Well, we'd like to invite our children up now.
We are walking as the light of God. 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 We are walking, we are walking, we are walking as the light of God. We are walking, we are walking, we are walking as the light of God.
Well, it seems to me that we have all YOUers here today. The wonderful group, wonderful group. And would anyone like to share what you did today and your time in YOU? Okay.
We talked about Advent and like how each, how we light the Christ candle first and like bringing in that presence and just what each candle means to us. And it was just really fun to listen to what other people have for their holiday traditions and being able to just get a little sneak peek into their lives. And it was a lot of fun.
Oh, lovely. Thank you. Thank you. Well, any announcements?
Sure, yeah, I have a few things to say.
All right.
So what you see up here is just a slice of the planning team for the Midwinter Rally. And these teens and also our other YOUers are hard at work over this next month, and we've been working for about the last month and a half to plan for an event that's going to happen here at Unity of Charlottesville on Martin Luther King Day weekend, where we are going to have 50 or more teens from around the Eastern region spending the weekend here. And our theme that we decided on is creating paradise. So here's Charlottesville. January is going to be a tropical paradise at Unity of Charlottesville. And what I want you all to know is that the planning is really being done by our teens, and they're going to be guiding the whole weekend for all of the other teens that are here. And we have a planning meeting after church, so we're getting psyched up for that. I also want to let you know, so our Youth Ed Open House that we were wonderfully anticipating drew so much snow that instead of kids. So if you can just imagine that all that snow were kids coming to our church, we're going to envision the snow transforming into children in March. So we're going to hope for better weather. Our Youth Ed Open House has been rescheduled for March, and we'll be getting out more information about that. And finally, I have been asked by our service elves, which is our blessing team, that if you have any pens for writing on the stars, if you would deposit them in the baskets as you exit the sanctuary.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, we want to bless all of you. Would you join in, please? Together.
Children, unity, YOUers, teachers, and parents, you are loved, special, and important.
So true. Well, we'd like to invite our prayer teams to go to their various places now. Our healing helpers will be in the corner. We have 2 prayer partners, I believe, here, Buddy and Sharon. And Mackie? Okay, maybe Mackie too. And so feel free to pray with these loved ones. They are prayer is very important to them. They're trained, they hold you in confidence, and they love to pray with you as well. So please stand and join hands in sharing our prayer for protection. Together, please.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. And wherever God is, all is well.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Go forth from this sanctuary of love. You are love, and be that in the world. Have a wonderful week. That's my mom.